Alright, what is up you guys? Today we are going to have a new tutorial. A big suggestion in the comments last time was that people wanted to see how to vector images. So I'm going to kind of go over that in a pretty brief tutorial. It's not going to be a really long tutorial today guys because it's really simple. And I'm not going to go too in depth with this, as there's not really much to it. But yeah, I don't necessarily condone the copying of images, especially if they're copyrighted, but eventually at some point in your life, you're going to end up tracing something, whether it's text or maybe your own drawings. You might end up tracing logos for a client, but either way, at some point, you're going to end up tracing in vectors, so I will show you guys how to do it. Just a fair warning, don't trace copyrighted material without permission, because you're going to get screwed if you try and sell that stuff. Also, if you try and take ownership for it. But anyway, here we have a drawing of Ino from Naruto, and this is where we're going to be vectoring today. Now, we're not going to vector the entire thing, but I am going to show you, the basic steps of vectoring this kind of stuff. So first, what you want to do here is you want to just lock that up, because you don't want to make any changes to this. You'll see that first, if we go here, I want to have this at black. So I just set that as black real quick. No fill and pen tool, but that's the step I use. Direct selection, no fill, draw. There you go. Anyway, you're gonna want to just zoom in right here. So I think I'm only gonna do the face for this, just to prove a point, but yeah, you could do it with all of this. Now then, if you were planning to do all of this, what I would recommend to anyone wanting to do this entire thing would be to literally trace a silhouette of this image and just make it black and set it in the background, because it will save you so much time, especially with this image. You've got black right here, you have black in the shirt, in the fishnet arms, whatever the hell she's wearing down there. I don't know what that is. I can't see the full image. But yeah, you'll save yourself a whole bunch of time if you just make a black silhouette. And also, if you, go off a little bit, it kind of saves your ass in some sort of way, especially with the lines over here. So just keep that in mind. No one is perfect, and it's going to take you a while to actually get to where you can draw this completely perfect. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to zoom in right here. And what you'll notice is we got our pen tool out, and then a lot of this, there's some curves here. If you don't know how to do curves with pen tool, it's pretty simple. So anyway, we're going to start down here at the neck, and we're going to draw in shading terms. Now, if you look at this drawing, you're going to see pretty clearly that there is different shades of skin, as well as the eyes. There's that blue, there's white in there, there's black on the outside, but we are going to be tracing in shades. And part of the reason I do this is that it saves a lot of time. So what we're going to do specifically in this case is we are going to draw this entire head in this color first, and then we are going to do this over that. Reasons for doing this is mostly because of, if you overlap, it's not going to look too horribly weird. And also, if you look really good over here, you can tell this artist probably used the same effect. As you can see, there's just that little bit that they didn't get right on the line. So one would carefully assume that that is what they did. Anyway, on we go. So just make sure you're on no fill. Now we're drawing on this kind of a color, and I don't feel so secure about drawing in black. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily set this to a pinkish color. Let's see if I can get there we go, a little pinkish color. The reason I'm going to draw in pink is it's very bright. It's going to stand out pretty clear. For example, if I draw there, it stands out really clear. what we want to do is we want to be able to see this. So I'm going to start right there, make a point here, and there's a slight curve, so you're just going to make that slight curve. Begin to draw it down. Now obviously this is a little bit pixelated, so we're probably going to be a little bit off, and you're probably not going to notice too much, but there will be some points where it just doesn't look very nice at the end. I am no way near a professional at drawing or even tracing drawing, so don't expect this to even be perfect. I'm just kind of showing you guys the basic method here. Okay, so so far we are pretty much getting the curves on point. Now, there's multiple ways for doing these curves, and I'm pretty sure all of you have your ways of doing them. This is just my way of doing it, and normally I usually get these curves pretty on point. There will be some times when your curves just do not want to cooperate with you, and you'll end up redrawing your points several times. So for example, let's say I put my point, let's see, I'm not going to draw in there yet. I want to keep going on the outside real bit. Actually, no, I am going to put a curve in there. But let's say, for example, I put my point out here. So my point's there. If I hold down my space bar, I can just go ahead and move it right in there. Now I want to have that slight curve right in there. Just like that. And now I want to curve back out. So put my point right there. Bingo. Taken care of. Now, of course, it's not perfect, but we are not going for 100% perfection, especially with an image of this quality. So we're fine. But all right, so now here's another one. We have a bit of a curve going up, and then a curve that changes and goes this way. So what we're going to do in this case is just draw right before that curve, make our curve there. Now we're going to draw right at the end of this curve, make our curve there, and then we continue back. All right, so doing pretty good. Now we have a little bit of a curve here, and we also have a straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to point there. Now this is bothering me, so I'm going to go back with the modify tool and fix that later. But for now, I think we're just going to continue. That point is a little bit off. I may or may not go back and fix it. That's a little bit off. Oops, that broke. Yeah, note to self, don't do that. There we go. That's a little bit nicer. Actually, let me see. No, that's okay. We can do that. All right. I'm not going to stress too much about that right now. And then we got a big, huge curve here, so I'm going to try and get this all in one swoop. It's close enough for me, so I'll take it. All right, so we have, once again, another curve that is going to kind of change on us. And we don't want to have a weird curve going on, so I'm just going to trace like that and make our line right about up to here. All right, so see, we do have a little bit of a slight curve in there, so I'm just going to come and see that. Draw that curve in. Perfect. All right, so once again, draw your curve. That's a little bit off. I'm going to kind of, I'm going to go back and add these little points probably later. I think for now, we're just going to go ahead and focus on the main draw. So the hair itself is probably going to be the point where a lot of things start to go iffy. In this case, what I am just doing is I'm trying to get that basic shape. In the worst case scenario, we're going to be a little bit off, but in best case scenario, it's not going to look too bad when we're finished. So it's one of those things I'm just going to try not to worry about. Now, normally what people are going to do is they will trace specifically within the lines. So if I was doing this from scratch and I was planning to do the entire image, what I would probably do is I would make a silhouette and I would be tracing only the color. So for example, these lines that you guys see here would not touch the black in any case. You never touch the black if you're drawing on a silhouette, because this black is going to be there, and your goal is to get the colored spots perfect. They should be perfect. So you start usually with the majority color, and then you would draw over. So for example, I would draw the hair in the light shades, I would draw the dark shades on top of that, and then I would be drawing outside these black lines, because when I draw the face, it's going to cover up the silhouette and you're going to get these lines naturally. And it's going to look, in most cases, if you were spot on, just fine. So it's just something to keep in mind, guys, when you're going through and doing this kind of process. Obviously, many of you might not be, tracing anime, but that's just what I decided to pick for this. Okay, now, in most cases, I would just draw over this, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna kind of curve around, because I think I'm only gonna do the face for this. I'm too. You guys just don't want to sit me here and watch me trace this all day. I'm probably actually just gonna speed through this process at the end of it. Alright, so at this point, you guys pretty much get the idea of how to use the pen tool. Just do not want to watch me do this. You don't. You really, really don't. I'll just add some music right here, and you guys can see me go through the process of finishing the tracing, and then I'm going to trace this part over here as well, and then we will resume when we start the coloring process. Alright guys, so we're back, and we just finished the basic trace of the face here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unlock these, and we're going to begin the coloring process. So coloring process here, we're going to select this first piece, because we want the full piece. We are going to select our color picker in this case, because we want exact tones, and we're just going to click. And we got that. So that's taken care of. Just going to go ahead and hide that layer. Now we want to have this one. And all we're going to go ahead and do now is get our color picker again and click. Now we got that. So now, as you guys can see, we've got our basic skin tone. That's basically the head. Now, if you want to really have it, stand out, you can go to your stroke, and we're just going to add a black stroke on, and there you have it. Now, what I do believe is right there. There probably should be a stroke, I think. Take it off that one. And then on this one, I'm thinking possibly a less color right there, maybe a grayish. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. Anyway, though, that is basically what we ended up with. So now if I turn this back on, it pretty much looks like it belongs. See, I can turn that off and you get some extra fine details in there. Obviously, you can see we've messed up on a few curves. You can take that part off. Okay, so maybe we can add the highlighting back onto that little piece right there. So we're just going to go ahead and add the black stroke back onto both of these. And now we're going to just put that back on. Now part of that is just bugging me a little bit. And it probably shouldn't. Let me see. Okay, yeah, that really does bug me. And the reason it does bug me is because that actually should not be there. So I'm just going to go to this and I'm going to completely take off the stroke. And I'll put this one back on. That looks much nicer. Okay, so yeah, we just pretty much did her face. Now what I would like to show you guys before the tutorial is over is how to take things out of Illustrator and work with them. So select, drag, hover, place, and drop. So now we got this, and it's fully vectored. So now I can go ahead like this. I'm going to scale it up. Actually, I'm going to scale it a little bit over, because I want to have it like right up here. So got that face up there, and just about no one is going to be able to tell what the hell this is because there's no hair. So I'm just going to have that up there, and we could do, obviously any of these tools up here would work. You could take hue and saturation and play with that. You could do, I do believe brightness and contrast will still work, yeah. See, you can do a little work in there. Now, I don't know why, but that looks really appealing. I think it's It's this right here that I don't like what it does. So I think in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and quick select this little bit. And I'm going to tell it to not affect. So I want to do this. Whoops. There we go. And we get that. So when you screw up in Illustrator, Photoshop can sometimes be a great tool for going back and fixing your fuck-ups, as I like to say. We can, of course, turn that off, turn it back on. We could invert it to black, which doesn't look too great, doesn't look too bad either. You could, of course, play with any of the filters up there and get things done fairly well. The eye color, I'm not too fond of that. I'm going to try and get rid of that right now. There we go. That's taken care of. So yeah, that's basically, how you would go about tracing in Illustrator. If you guys got any questions, you want me to maybe go in more detail, just leave it in the comments. If you have a suggestion for next week's tutorial, feel free to let me know. I'm happy tutoring anything from Dreamweaver to Illustrator to Photoshop, Manga Studio, whatever you guys want to see. Just make sure it's in the comments. I will make sure to go over it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you later, guys.